Welcome to Derry is shaping up to be much more than a simple prequel. It's a deep dive into the origins of Pennywise and the cursed town that made him legendary. Set decades before the Losers Club's final showdown, the series builds new layers of mystery, fear, and surprising connections across Stephen King's universe. With chilling Easter eggs, intriguing character arcs, and clever ties to the It films, the show isn't just expanding the lore, it's creating theories that could redefine everything we thought we knew about Derry, Pennywise, and the terrifying cycle of evil beneath it all. There's this fascinating theory floating around about It Welcome to Derry and how it could all tie back to Pennywise's eventual defeat. Everyone knows the show is set decades before the movies, long before the Losers Club grows up to face Pennywise for good. But what if the story we're seeing now isn't just a random prequel? What if it's actually about laying the groundwork for the Losers' eventual victory? Because the show's already hinted that everything happening in Derry's past might be more connected than we realize. Now, here's where things start to get really interesting. A lot of fans believe the show won't just end with Pennywise wiping everyone out. After all, that would make the whole build-up kind of pointless. Instead, it might show how the people of the 1960s, especially the kids we're following now, end up doing something that weakens it in the long run. Maybe they're the reason the losers face a slightly weaker Pennywise decades later. One big clue comes from something the movies completely skipped over: Pennywise's eggs. In Stephen King's novel, it isn't just a single creature, it's capable of reproducing. And the idea of Pennywise laying eggs has always been one of the creepiest but most overlooked details. The show has already teased a couple of birth-related scares, and while that might just seem like symbolism for fear or trauma, it could also hint at something bigger. What if those scenes are setting up the possibility that Pennywise is getting ready to spawn? If that's true, it would explain a lot. Maybe the kids from this era end up destroying those eggs, or at least stopping Pennywise from spreading further. That could be why the Losers Club never finds them later on. It's such a clever way for the showrunners to bring back a classic element from King's book, while also giving this earlier generation of Derry residents their own heroic arc. So instead of just being another group of doomed characters, they could be the reason the 1980s losers even stand a chance. And speaking of clever connections, Welcome to Derry has already started tying itself to some of Stephen King's other works, especially with one location that's becoming more and more central: Juniper Hill Asylum. Fans of King's universe will immediately recognize the name. This isn't just any creepy hospital, it's a major recurring spot across his books, popping up in It, Insomnia, Gerald's Game, Needful Things, The Tommyknockers, and even 11/22/63. It's basically one of the pillars of King's shared universe, and its inclusion here is a big deal. In Welcome to Derry, Juniper Hill connects directly to one of the new characters, Lily Bainbridge. After her father's death, she ends up committed there, and Episode 2 shows how Pennywise continues to haunt her even inside those walls. Her hallucinations blur the line between madness and supernatural terror, something that's been a recurring theme in King's stories forever. What makes it so exciting is how this ties back to Henry Bowers from the movies, the same Henry who was manipulated by Pennywise and later freed from Juniper Hill in It Chapter 2. That connection bridges timelines beautifully, suggesting the asylum has always been one of Pennywise's favorite hunting grounds. So, while it might seem like just another spooky hospital, Juniper Hill could actually hold some deeper secret about how Pennywise's influence works. Maybe the asylum itself is a sort of anchor, a place where his psychic energy lingers between cycles of awakening. That would make sense, especially since the show seems to be building toward exploring how Derry's evil keeps coming back every few decades. And if Juniper Hill wasn't enough, the show is also filled with Easter eggs that hint at King's wider universe. For example, sharp-eyed fans noticed nods to the Dark Tower series, particularly the cosmic turtle Maturin. In the It mythos, Maturin is the complete opposite of Pennywise, a wise, ancient being who helps keep the multiverse in balance. Both It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 included subtle turtle references: a Lego turtle in Georgie's room, a model turtle at school, but Welcome to Derry is doubling down. There's a turtle mascot costume, a charm bracelet, and even a line from one of the kids saying, "Turtles are lucky." That might seem like a cute touch, but it's actually a huge deal for fans of the Dark Tower, because Maturin and Pennywise exist on opposite sides of the same cosmic coin. It suggests that the show might dig deeper into the metaphysical side of King's universe, the macroverse, where beings like it and Maturin originate. If that's the case, Welcome to Derry could become the first screen adaptation to explore the grand mythology that connects almost every Stephen King story. And then there's the Shawshank bus. Eagle-eyed viewers spotted a vehicle marked Shawshank State Prison, instantly linking Welcome to Derry to one of King's most beloved stories, The Shawshank Redemption. It's a small detail, but it reinforces the idea that all of these stories share the same world. The fact that Shawshank, Castle Rock, and Juniper Hill all exist within driving distance makes Maine feel like this dark, interconnected web where evil seeps through the cracks. Another neat nod is the Capitol Theater, which shows the movie Carrie in the premiere episode. It's a cool meta moment since Carrie was King's first published novel and the film's final screening before the theater shut down in real life. By featuring it, the show pays tribute not only to King's career, but also to how his entire universe of horror began. It's like Welcome to Derry is saying, this is where it all started, and this is where it's all connected. But one of the most fascinating theories going around right now is about a character named George Elvid from King's novella Fair Extension. Some fans believe George Elvid could actually be another form of Pennywise, or at least one of his descendants. In that story, Elvid is this centuries-old being who makes deals with desperate people, trading their misery for wealth or health. He's described as having sharp, cannibal-like teeth and even changes his appearance several times. One line even compares him to the world's least pleasant clown, which sounds suspiciously familiar, doesn't it? That connection has led to the theory that George Elvid might be one of Pennywise's many identities, or possibly a surviving fragment of it after the events of the novel. It wouldn't be too far-fetched, since King's books are full of subtle hints that Pennywise, or at least part of it, still exists somewhere. In Dreamcatcher, for instance, there's graffiti reading "Pennywise lives," and in Fair Extension, the similarities are just too uncanny to ignore. It's also worth noting that Pennywise is known to take on human forms throughout the movies: Bob Gray, Mrs. Kirsch, the leper, the librarian, and even Beverly's distorted vision. So George Elvid could easily fit into that pattern. If Welcome to Derry wanted to lean into that theory, they could easily include a scene where Dave Streeter, the man who makes a deal with George Elvid, appears in town. Maybe he interacts with Pennywise in disguise, sealing a deal that ends up cursing someone else in Derry. It wouldn't have to take up much screen time, but it could add another layer to the mythology and connect the show to Full Dark, No Stars. It'd be a small nod that opens up a big world of possibilities. Of course, there are some practical challenges to making that theory canon. The rights to Fair Extension are separate from it, and Stephen King usually doesn't allow one filmmaker to control multiple adaptations at once. But since Andy Muschietti, the director of the It films, is also behind Welcome to Derry, there's still hope. He's already hinted that the series will explore 3 major interludes from King's book: the Black Spot Fire in 1962, the Bradley Gang Massacre in 1935, and the Kitchener Iron Works explosion in 1908. Each one marks a period when Pennywise awakens, so fitting in George Elvid's story somewhere between those events might actually make sense. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.